They're all real. I can't believe it.
I wiped grease from my hands and checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Vanessa. I called back. Hey. Finally, she said. Do you know how embarrassing it is when my boyfriend ignores me? I was working. You're always working. I'm a mechanic. You say that like it's something noble. I looked around the garage and forced a smile nobody could see. What did you need? Dinner at my mom's house. 7. Please wear something decent this time. I only own decent. You own sad. She hung up before I answered. I stared at the dark screen. 3 years together and lately every call felt like a warning bell. At my apartment I changed into a clean button shirt. It was simple but sharp. I drove my old sedan across town. Vanessa opened the door and frowned. That car again? It runs. It also screams poverty. It whispers reliability. Very funny, she said. Come inside. And try not to joke tonight. Her mother, Mrs. Reed, sat at the dining table like a queen judging criminals. There he is, she said. Our hard-working Romeo. Good evening, I said. She looked me up and down. Still renting that shoebox apartment? Yes. How ambitious. Vanessa poured wine and said nothing. I took my seat. How have you been, Mrs. Reed? Better than you financially. Vanessa laughed softly, then covered it with a cough. That laugh hit harder than the insult. Mrs. Reed pointed at my hands. Those stains ever come off? Sometimes. How romantic. Grease under the nails. I said, cars break. I fix them. She smirked. Some men build companies. Some men tighten bolts. Vanessa finally spoke. Mom? I looked at her, hopeful. She sighed. Can we just eat? Not defend me. Not stop it. Just eat. During dinner, Vanessa scrolled through her phone. Look at this, she said, turning the screen toward me. Chloe's fiancé bought her a beach house. That's nice. She's 26. I'm happy for them. You should feel inspired. I feel hungry. Mrs. Reed laughed. He has jokes. Shame jokes don't pay mortgages. I cut my steak slowly. My father's voice returned from years ago. The wrong person will only love your shadow. I used to think he was too cynical. Tonight he sounded wise. Vanessa leaned closer. Why don't you start your own shop? I like where I work. Why? Because I enjoy the work. That's not an answer. It is to me. She shook her head. You're too comfortable being small. I swallowed hard. Small? You know what I mean. No. Say it clearly. She lowered her voice. You have no hunger. Mrs. Reed sipped wine. I've been saying that for years. I asked, do you think money is the only sign of hunger? Vanessa rolled her eyes. There you go again, turning everything into philosophy because you can't compete. Compete with who? With men who want more. I stared at her. And what do you want? She answered fast. Security. You have loyalty. That doesn't pay bills. I pay my bills. You know what I mean. I did know. I always knew. I just hated hearing it out loud. Mrs. Reed stood and carried plates away. Vanessa deserves a man people respect. I asked quietly, people or you? Vanessa's jaw tightened. Why are you making this difficult? Because I'm in the room. You're being dramatic. I laughed once. It sounded empty. Dramatic? I'm trying to help you improve. By insulting me? By pushing you. Toward what? Toward becoming more. I nodded slowly. And if I like who I am? She looked at me like I had confessed a crime. Then that's the problem, Ethan. Something inside me cracked so quietly nobody heard it but me. I stood. Thanks for dinner. Vanessa frowned. Seriously? Yes. You're leaving because of one conversation? No, I said. I'm leaving because of 100. Outside she followed me to the porch. Don't be sensitive, she said. I opened my car door. Good night, Vanessa. You could be so much more. I met her eyes. Maybe I already am. Vanessa texted me at noon. Be there by 8. Rooftop at the Grand Meridian. Don't be late. I replied, I'll come straight from work. She answered, try to look presentable. I stared at the message longer than I should have. By 7:30, I was still under a pickup truck changing a transmission line. My boss said, go. You already stayed late. You smell like oil. You always smell like oil. True. I washed up fast, changed into my cleanest black shirt and drove to the city. The Grand Meridian glittered like a palace. Valets in white gloves opened doors for men in suits and women wearing jewelry worth more than my car. I handed over my keys. The valet looked at my sedan. "You're parking here? It still has wheels." He forced a smile. "Of course." The elevator opened to music, lights, and expensive laughter. Vanessa saw me inside before I even reached her. "You're late." "I came from work." "You could have changed again." "I did." She looked at my shirt. "Into that. It was clean 10 minutes ago." Her friend Chloe whispered loudly, "He's adorable in a struggling artist way." I said, "I'm a mechanic." She smiled. "That's even sadder." Vanessa didn't defend me. I handed her a small velvet box. "Happy birthday." She opened it. Inside was a silver bracelet I spent weeks choosing. "Oh," she said. "You don't like it?" "It's nice." Chloe leaned in. "Is it real silver or emotional silver?" The women laughed. I said nothing. Vanessa closed the box. "Thank you." No hug. No kiss. She placed it on a table beside half-empty glasses. Music shifted. People turned toward the elevator. A tall man stepped out wearing a navy suit and confidence like perfume. 2 staff members followed him carrying champagne and flowers. Vanessa's whole face changed. "Marcus," she shouted. She rushed past me. Marcus Hale kissed her cheek and held up a small case. "Birthday queen," he said. "I brought something shiny." Vanessa laughed louder than I'd heard in months. "You didn't have to." "I know," he said. "That's why I did." He opened the case. Diamond earrings flashed under the lights. The room gasped. Chloe clapped. "Marry him." Marcus looked at me. "And who's this?" Vanessa hesitated 1 second too long. "This is Ethan." Marcus extended a hand. "Nice to meet you." I shook it. He squeezed too hard. "What do you do?" "I work on cars." Marcus grinned. "Important. My driver loves mechanics." Some people laughed. I let go of his hand. Good for him. Marcus stayed close to Vanessa all night. He poured her drinks, touched her waist, whispered jokes that made her bend forward laughing. I stood near the railing like hired security. Twice I tried to speak with her. "Can we talk?" "Later, Ethan." "Can you open my gift?" "Later." "Do you want me here?" She frowned. "Don't start." An hour later Marcus raised a glass. "To Vanessa," he said. "Proof that beauty improves every room." Cheers exploded. Then Chloe shouted, "Speech from the boyfriend." People looked at me. Vanessa smiled in a way that felt dangerous. "Ethan is sweet," she said. "Really sweet." I forced a smile. She continued, "But he still thinks hard work can replace money." The laughter came fast and sharp. My chest tightened. Vanessa pointed playfully at me. "He believes passion pays for penthouses." More laughter. Marcus smirked. "Dreamers keep the world entertaining." I said quietly, "Vanessa?" She ignored my tone. "I keep telling him ambition matters." I asked, "Why are you doing this?" She tilted her head. "Doing what?" "Humiliating me." "Oh please. Learn to take a joke." I looked around the room. No one seemed uncomfortable except me. Marcus stepped beside her. "If you need lessons in ambition, I offer consulting." Vanessa laughed again. Something cold moved through me. I said, "I came here for you." She lifted a shoulder. "Then enjoy the party." I asked one last question. "Do you respect me at all?" She stared at Marcus, then back at me. Instead of answering, she grabbed Marcus by the collar and kissed him. The room erupted. Phones came out. Someone yelled, "Upgrade complete." I stood there while blood roared in my ears. Marcus looked over her shoulder at me and smiled into the kiss. That was the moment love died. I turned and walked toward the elevator. Behind me, Chloe said, "Guess the mechanic got towed." Another voice added, "Maybe he can fix his bank account." Doors closed before I heard more. Outside, rain hammered the street. I didn't run to my car. I stood there and let the storm soak my clothes. My phone buzzed. "Vanessa, don't be dramatic." Another message followed. "You embarrassed yourself." I laughed once, then deleted both. Rain slid down my face like tears I refused to give her. For 3 years I thought she wanted me. Tonight I learned she only wanted someone she could proudly display. And I had never been that man. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Vanessa kissing Marcus while strangers laughed. At sunrise I got dressed, grabbed my keys and drove past the garage where I worked, past my apartment, past the city I had made small enough to fit inside her opinion. I stopped outside an old industrial gate hidden behind tall walls. A camera turned toward me. I pressed the intercom. It's Ethan. The speaker crackled. Took you long enough. I smiled despite myself. Morning, Uncle Raymond. The gate opened. I drove inside and parked before a massive steel warehouse. Dust lived on the windows. Silence covered everything. Uncle Raymond stood near the entrance in a gray coat, coffee in one hand. You look terrible, he said. I feel worse. Good. I frowned. Good? Pain means you're awake. He hugged me once hard, then stepped back. She did a number on you? She finished a job I helped start. He nodded slowly. Honest answer. Better than blaming the world. I looked at the warehouse doors. I haven't been here in years. I know. I thought hiding was safer. It was easier, he corrected. He handed me a keycard. Open it. My hand shook more than I expected. I slid the card through the reader. Locks clicked. The steel doors rolled upward with a deep mechanical growl. Sunlight spilled inside. Rows of cars gleamed beneath covers and polished lights. My breath caught. A red classic roadster my father restored himself. A black Italian supercar I drove once at 17. A silver coupe I bought after winning my first race. Vintage muscle cars. Custom builds. Rare engines mounted like art. My real life sat waiting in silence. Uncle Raymond watched me. Still think you're broke? I walked forward slowly. I forgot how many there were. No, he said. You tried to forget. I touched the hood of the roadster. I told myself money complicated love. It does. So I hid it. You hid yourself, he said. I swallowed hard. I wanted someone to choose me. And she chose the version of you she could disrespect. His words landed clean and sharp. I asked, did Dad know I'd end up like this? He knew you'd learn late. Uncle Raymond reached into his coat and pulled out an envelope worn at the edges. He left this for you. Told me to wait until life hit you hard enough to listen. My throat tightened. You kept it all these years? I keep promises. I opened the letter. Ethan, if you are reading this, pain has probably found you. It usually does before wisdom arrives. Never shrink yourself to make shallow people comfortable. If someone loves only your struggle, they do not love you. If someone fears your light, let them walk away. Build. Stand tall. Stay kind. And never apologize for what our family built with honest hands. Love. Dad. The words blurred. I sat on a workbench and covered my face. Uncle Raymond said nothing. I cried harder than I had at the funeral. Not just for my father. For the years I spent pretending his legacy was something to hide. For every insult I laughed off. For every moment I begged silently to be enough. When I finally breathed again, Raymond handed me a rag. Ugly crying, he said. Shut up. There he is. I laughed through tears. He leaned beside me. What now? I don't know. Yes, you do. I looked around the warehouse. The answer had always been here. I'm done pretending. Good. I'm done explaining myself to people who enjoy misunderstanding me. Better. I'm done chasing Vanessa. The best thing you've said all morning. I stood. Dust floated in the light like the room itself had been waiting. What shape is the company in? I asked. Raymond's eyes brightened. Now you're speaking my language. Tell me. Cole Automotive Holdings still owns the patents, the properties, and the old downtown showroom. Oliver kept the legal side alive. We only needed you. Then call Oliver. I already did. I stared at him. He's outside, Raymond said. The side door opened. Oliver Grant entered with a briefcase. Good morning, Ethan. You knew I was coming? Raymond sipped coffee. I hoped pain would make you punctual. Oliver opened the case and spread papers across a table. Reinstatement forms. Board transfer. Brand relaunch. Signature lines marked. I scanned the documents. My name waited where I had hidden it for years. Once I sign, I said, there's no going back. Raymond folded his arms. Back to what? Begging to be chosen? I picked up the pen. No, I said. Not that. I signed every page. Oliver smiled. Congratulations, Mr. Cole. The title felt strange. Then right. Raymond tossed me a set of keys. I caught them. Take the black one, he said. The V12. Let the city hear you're done whispering. I looked at the car, then at the open door beyond the warehouse. Yesterday I walked into rain feeling discarded. Today I stepped into my own name. I pressed the start button. The engine roared like something waking inside me. I was buttoning my shirt when someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 soft taps. Then 2 faster ones. Vanessa. I opened the door halfway. She stood there holding coffee and wearing the smile she used when she wanted forgiveness without earning it. "Hi," she said softly. "What are you doing here?" "I brought your favorite." "You don't know my favorite." She blinked. "Hazelnut latte." "I'm allergic to hazelnut." Her smile twitched. "Right. I meant vanilla." I leaned against the frame. "Why are you here?" She lowered her voice. "Can I come in?" "No." "Ethan, please." "No." She sighed dramatically. "Marcus was a mistake. That was quick. He's shallow." I almost laughed. "You kissed him because he seemed deep?" "He pursued me after the party, then stopped answering. So this is customer service." "That's not fair." "It's accurate." She stepped closer. "I miss us. You miss being comforted. I miss the real you." That nearly made me smile. "The real me?" "Yes. The sweet, humble, loyal you." "You mean the version you could disrespect?" Her eyes watered instantly. She had always been talented. "I know I hurt you. You enjoyed hurting me." I was angry. "At what?" "At your lack of drive." I nodded. "Still amazing." "What?" "You came here to apologize and insult me in the same breath." She reached for my hand. I moved it away. "Please," she said. "Let's talk somewhere private. This hallway is enough." Neighbors opened a door down the hall, pretending not to listen. Vanessa noticed and whispered, "Can we not do this here?" "You started it here." "I just want another chance." "I'm leaving." "Where?" "Work." "At that dirty garage?" I looked at her for a long second. "There you are," I said. "What?" "The real you." I locked my apartment and walked toward the stairs. She followed me. "Ethan, wait." I kept walking. In the parking lot, I got into the black coupe Uncle Raymond insisted I drive. Vanessa stopped cold. "That's not your car." "It is today." She laughed nervously. "Whose is it?" "Mine." "Stop joking." I started the engine. Her mouth parted at the sound. She hurried to the passenger side. "Let me in." "No." "Then I'll follow you." "With what?" "Your pride." She glared, then rushed to her car. I drove across town, knowing she stayed behind me the whole way. At the private gate, I rolled down my window and pressed the intercom. "It's Ethan." The gate opened. I heard Vanessa slam her brakes outside. I drove inside slowly. Then I stopped. For a moment, I considered going in alone. Instead, I pressed another button. The gate opened wider. She crept in behind me. I parked in front of the warehouse. Vanessa stepped out, looking around at the walls, the cameras, the grounds. "What is this place?" I said nothing. I walked to the control panel. The steel doors began to rise. Light touched chrome, glass, and polished paint. Rows of rare cars gleamed like a private museum. Vanessa gasped. "Oh my God." She took 2 steps forward. "Ethan." Her voice changed. Softer. Hungrier. "This is yours." "Yes." "All of it." "Yes." She turned slowly, staring at each car. "How long?" "My whole life." "You lied to me." "I protected myself." "You hid this from me." "I hid me from you." She walked to the red roadster, eyes wide. "This one alone is worth." "Enough." She touched the air above the hood without daring to make contact. Then she faced me. "Why would you live in that tiny apartment?" "To meet someone honest." She flinched. "You tested me?" "No," I said. "Life did." "That's cruel." I laughed once. "Cruel?" She stepped closer. "We could fix this." "We?" "Yes, us." "There is no us. You still love me." "Maybe I love the memory of who I thought you were." Tears formed again. "I made mistakes." "You made choices." "I didn't know." "You knew enough." I pointed around the warehouse. "Every time you called me a loser, you insulted the man who built this with my father." She whispered, "Ethan?" "Every time you mocked my clothes, my car, my apartment, you showed me your price tag." "That's not fair." "It's exact." She grabbed my arm. "Please. Let me explain." I removed her hand calmly. "No. You can't just walk away." "I already did." "You were too busy looking at diamonds to notice." She cried openly now. "I was stupid." "Yes. I'm sorry." "I believe you." Hope flashed across her face. Then I added, "It changes nothing." I tossed my keys once in my palm and headed for the black coupe. "Where are you going?" she asked. "Forward." "Please talk to me." I opened the door. "Ethan." I looked back one final time. She wasn't staring at me. She was staring at the cars. That told me everything. I got in, started the engine, and drove away without another word. My phone rang before sunrise. Vanessa. I silenced it. It rang again. Then again. By the 8th call I answered. What? Finally, she said. Why are you ignoring me? Practice. Ethan, please don't be cruel. I learned from experts. I need to talk. You need access. That's unfair. So was public humiliation. She inhaled sharply. Can we meet? No. 5 minutes. No. You still care. I ended the call. At 9, flowers arrived at the showroom office. White roses. The card read, for the man I never understood. V. Raymond read it over my shoulder. She always this dramatic? Only when desperate. He handed the bouquet to reception. Lobby decoration. At noon another delivery came. A handwritten letter. I opened it. I miss your kindness. I miss your laugh. I miss us. I tossed it into the trash. Oliver entered with a folder. Marcus Hale wants a meeting. Why? He says partnership opportunities. I laughed. Yesterday I was a mechanic. Today you're valuable. Decline politely. Raymond said, be less polite. An hour later Marcus walked in anyway. Navy suit. Expensive watch. Same smug face. He extended a hand. No hard feelings? I didn't shake it. You trespassed confidence before property. He smiled thinly and sat without invitation. I respect success, he said. We should talk business. We shouldn't. You have legacy assets. I have expansion channels. You have nerve. He leaned back. Let's be adults. Vanessa was entertainment. My jaw tightened. He noticed and smirked. Still emotional. I stood. Meeting over. You're refusing profit because of a woman? I'm refusing rot because it wears cologne. Raymond opened the door. Walk yourself out before I help. Marcus rose slowly. You'll regret pride, he said. I answered, you mistake standards for pride. He left. Raymond grinned. I like that one. By evening, a woman waited near the elevator. Sophie Reed. Vanessa's younger sister. She looked nervous, clutching her bag. Can we talk? She asked. I nodded toward my office. She sat carefully. I'm sorry. For what? For all of them. My mother. Vanessa. Me for staying quiet. You were kinder than the rest. Not enough. I studied her face. Unlike Vanessa, she looked directly at people. Why are you here, Sophie? Because Vanessa won't tell herself the truth. Which is? She never feared losing you. I said nothing. She feared looking poor beside her friends. The words landed clean. She loved how safe you felt, Sophie continued. But she hated how humble you looked. Interesting combination. She thought she had time. She thought you'd always wait. I looked out the glass wall at workers moving through the new showroom. She was wrong. Sophie nodded sadly. I know. Before leaving she said, please don't hate me for sharing blood with them. I don't, I said. You proved character isn't genetic. 2 weeks later, launch day arrived for the downtown showroom. Crowds filled the polished floor. Cameras flashed. Engines gleamed. Then I heard a familiar voice. Still late to your own events? I turned. Lena Brooks stood there in a charcoal blazer, clipboard in hand, smiling like sunlight that knew better than to brag. I laughed. Lena? Consultant now, she said. Oliver hired me to save this launch from men making bad decisions. I feel attacked. You should. We had grown up on the same street before life pulled us apart. She always spoke plainly. It felt rare now. I asked, you're running this? I'm fixing it. You're welcome. All day she moved through chaos calmly. Move that banner. Shift those lights. Ethan, stop hovering. I own the building. You still hover badly. With Lena, silence felt easy. No performance. No measuring. No pressure. During the evening reception, she handed me sparkling water. You look tense. Public events itch. Then scratch less. I laughed again. That was when Vanessa appeared. Red dress. Perfect makeup. Eyes burning. She marched over. So this is why you won't answer me? Lena glanced at me. Friend of yours? Former mistake, I said. Vanessa ignored the hit. She pointed at Lena. You stole him. Lena blinked. I just met your delusion. Don't mock me. I stepped between them. Enough. Vanessa's voice cracked. You replaced me already? No. Then why her? Because she showed up to work, not hunt. That's cruel. I finally said what had been waiting inside me. You threw me away long before she arrived. She froze. People nearby pretended not to listen. I continued quietly. You mocked my life. You laughed when I was humiliated. You kissed another man to wound me. Tears filled her eyes. I said sorry. You said sorry after seeing my garage. Vanessa whispered, I loved you. You loved having me beneath you. Lena said nothing, but her presence steadied me. Vanessa looked at her, then back at me. This isn't over. I answered calmly. It ended the night you thought I'd stay broken. Security approached. She turned and walked out before they reached us. Lena exhaled. Your ex is exhausting. She's consistent. She smiled. Come on, boss. Your guests need you. I followed her back into the lights. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel chased. I felt free. I was reviewing hiring reports when Raymond burst into my office holding a tablet. Your favorite clown is on fire, he said. Which one? Marcus. He dropped the tablet on my desk. Headlines covered the screen. Hale Group under investigation. Partner accused of diverting funds. Investors pull out after internal leak. I leaned back slowly. That was fast. Raymond grinned. Gravity works quickly when the floor is fake. I scrolled farther. Derek Miles, Marcus's business partner, had transferred money through shell companies for months. Photos showed Marcus leaving a building surrounded by cameras. He looked stressed, I said. Try compassion later. My phone buzzed with messages. Oliver, 3 banks called asking if we wanted distressed assets. Lena, please tell me you're not smiling right now. I texted back, only internally. By noon, social media was full of clips. Marcus boasting at parties. Marcus mocking small people. Marcus promising endless growth. Now comments buried him. I should have felt thrilled. Instead, I felt oddly calm. Lena stepped into my office carrying coffee. You have the face of a man pretending not to enjoy karma. I'm enjoying efficient accounting. She handed me a cup. Liar. I shrugged. Maybe a little. She sat across from me. Careful. About what? Building your peace on someone else's collapse. I looked at her. That sounded expensive, I said. It was free. I'm generous. Before I could answer, reception called. There's someone here asking for you. She says it's urgent. I already knew. Send her in. Vanessa entered wearing sunglasses despite the indoor lights. When she removed them, her eyes were swollen. Ethan. Lena stood. I can come back. No, I said. Stay. Vanessa noticed and flinched. Please, she said. Can we talk alone? No. She swallowed hard. Fine. I waited. She clasped her hands. Marcus lied to me. I said nothing. He said everything was real. The money, the deals, the future. Interesting. You're upset a liar lied. That's cruel. It's concise. Tears slid down her face. I was manipulated. I remembered the rooftop laughter. The kiss. The text. My voice stayed calm. You were not hypnotized. I made mistakes. You made repeated decisions. I was confused. You were impressed. She shook her head. Why are you like this now? Like what? Cold? I almost laughed. You met coldness long ago. You just never recognized it because it came from you. Vanessa looked at Lena. Can you leave? Lena sipped coffee. No. Vanessa turned back to me. I need help. With what? My reputation is ruined. There it was. Not heartbreak. Reputation. I asked, do you hear yourself? I lost friends. You chose friends who worship gossip. My mother won't stop blaming me. You learned from her. She cried harder. I thought you'd care. I do care, I said quietly. I care enough to tell you truth. Hope flickered across her face. Then I continued. Pain doesn't erase choices. She stared at me. I'm suffering, she whispered. I suffered too. That's different. Yes, I said. I suffered honestly. Silence filled the room. Finally she asked, so that's it? That's closure. She looked around my office at the glass walls, the framed plans, the life she once mocked. You really changed. No, I said. I stopped shrinking. She left without another word. Lena waited until the elevator doors closed. You okay? Yes. You sure? I exhaled. More than I expected. That afternoon, I visited our newest training center in my old neighborhood. Brick buildings. cracked sidewalks, kids racing bicycles through alleys. I used to walk those streets thinking wealth lived on another planet. Now I was opening jobs there. A young man named Carlos shook my hand. They said you're hiring apprentices. We are. I don't have experience. Can you learn? Yes. Then you qualify. His grin hit harder than any profit report. Inside the workshop, 10 stations waited with tools and engines. Raymond looked around proudly. Your father would have loved this. I hope so. He would have cursed at the wiring first. I laughed. Workers from the neighborhood filled forms, asked questions, tested machines. No cameras. No champagne towers. No fake applause. Just chances. Oliver called near sunset. We can acquire 2 Hale properties cheap. Pass. Really? Yes. Strategic reason? I'm building forward, not feeding on scraps. He paused. That's annoyingly noble. Write it down. When the day ended, I stood outside the center watching lights come on across the block. Lena joined me. You know, she said, revenge would have been easier. I know. Then why does this look better on you? I smiled. Because success used to mean proving them wrong. And now? I looked through the window at people learning skills that could change their lives. Now it means finally respecting myself. Lena bumped my shoulder gently. Keep that version, she said. I plan to. For the first time, Marcus's fall felt small. My rise finally felt real. I went to the warehouse late that night because silence lived there better than anywhere else. The city was loud. My phone was loud. My thoughts were louder. Inside the garage, rows of cars rested under soft lights. Engines I loved. Machines that obeyed logic. Turn the key, get truth. People were harder. I opened an old metal cabinet near my father's workbench and searched for a torque manual. Instead, I found a plain envelope with my handwriting. Vanessa. I froze. No way. I opened it slowly. Inside was a folded letter dated 2 years earlier. The night I had almost asked her to move in. I sat on a stool and read. Vanessa. I know my apartment is small, but I think love can make small places feel large. Move in with me. Let's save together, build together, struggle together. I don't have everything yet, but I have loyalty, patience, and plans. I want mornings with you, arguments with you, old age with you. Say yes. My chest tightened so hard I had to set the page down. I remembered that night. I had cooked dinner. Bought candles. Then she spent the meal complaining about Chloe's boyfriend buying a condo. I never gave her the letter. I told myself the timing was wrong. Now I knew something deeper. Part of me already knew she was wrong. I laughed once, bitter and low. Look at you, I said to myself. Begging to be chosen. The words echoed in the garage. I read the letter again. Every line came from a good man. A man willing to build slowly. A man proud to love fully. Why did that version of me feel embarrassing now? Because he offered gold to someone measuring diamonds. I rubbed my eyes. I miss you, I whispered. I didn't mean Vanessa. I meant the hopeful man who wrote this without fear. Footsteps sounded behind me. You talk to yourself often? I turned. Lena stood near the entrance holding 2 cups of coffee. Only when the conversation improves. She smiled softly. Raymond said you were hiding here. I'm not hiding. You're in a warehouse with 50 cars and 1 light on. Fair point. She walked over and handed me a cup. Then she noticed the paper. What's that? Evidence. Of murder? Almost. I gave her the letter. She read quietly. No jokes. No raised eyebrow. Just care. When she finished, she folded it neatly and returned it. That hurts, she said. It does. Because you loved her? Partly. What's the other part? I stared at the page. I'm grieving the version of me who thought I had to earn basic respect. Lena nodded. That's the real wound. I feel stupid. No. I ignored signs. You hoped. I settled. You believed. I looked at her. You make everything sound kinder than it is. No, she said. I make it truer. I leaned back on the stool. I wrote that letter like love was enough. Sometimes it is. Not with her. Then that's her poverty, not yours. The sentence hit me harder than expected. I laughed softly. You always talk like this? Only when charging premium rates. I shook my head. Then I asked the question I hadn't said aloud. Was I weak? For loving honestly? For staying too long? She stepped closer. You were human. That sounds generous. It's accurate. I looked down at my hands. I hate that she made me doubt myself. She didn't create the doubt. Lena said. She used what was already there. I let that settle. Then she added, but you don't have to keep renting space to her voice. I smiled despite myself. That was annoyingly wise. I contain multitudes. We stood in comfortable silence. Finally I held up the letter. What do I do with this? What do you want to do? Keep it maybe? To remember. Remember what? How blind I was. She shook her head. No. Remember how deeply you can love. My throat tightened. You loved honestly, she said. That's not weakness. Something inside me loosened. For the first time I believed her. I walked to my father's old metal burn tray near the workbench. I placed the letter inside. Lena handed me a lighter. Ceremony? She asked. Closure. I lit the corner. Flame crawled across the paper, turning promises into orange light. I watched until the last words curled black. Ash lifted upward in thin spirals. Gone. Not the love I gave. Just the place I gave it wrong. Lena touched my arm gently. Come on, she said. Let's get out of here. I looked once more at the fading ashes. Then I followed her into the night feeling lighter. I knew she was coming before she arrived. Raymond texted me, she's outside the showroom. Don't react too fast. I replied, I won't. But my hands still paused over the paperwork. Then the door opened. Vanessa stepped in. No perfume cloud. No confident walk. No perfect smile. Just tired eyes and a dress that looked chosen without joy. She stopped when she saw me. Ethan. I didn't stand. You asked for 5 minutes, I said. Start. She swallowed. I look different, don't I? Yes. Not in a good way. I didn't say that. She gave a weak laugh. I deserve worse. Silence sat between us. Then she said, Marcus is gone. I heard. He used me. You used me too, I said calmly. She flinched. That's not fair. It's accurate. Her hands tightened. I didn't understand what I had. You understood enough. I thought I could have both worlds. You chose the one that looked louder. She looked down. I miss you, she said softly. I miss who I thought you were. Tears formed again. I loved you. You loved what I gave you, I said. Comfort. Stability. Attention. That's still love. Not when it only survives in private. She stepped closer. Can we start over? I finally looked at her fully. You want reset, not repair. What's the difference? Repair means facing what broke. She shook her head quickly. I can change. You already changed, I said. Just not toward me. Her voice cracked. I hate myself for what I did. I nodded once. I believe you. Hope flickered in her face again. Then I added, but regret is not repair. That hit harder than anything else. She whispered, so that's it? Yes. After everything? Because of everything. She wiped her face quickly, trying to regain control. I was just confused, she said. You were consistent, I corrected. Just not with me. She let out a broken breath. Do you feel nothing now? I thought about it honestly. No anger, I said. That left earlier. Then what? Distance. Her shoulders sank. I don't want to lose you, she said. You already did. She shook her head. Ethan, please. I stood up slowly. Vanessa, I said. Some doors don't slam. They close quietly. That's how you know they're final. She froze at that. For the first time she didn't argue. She just stood there breathing unevenly. I'm sorry, she whispered again. I know. And that's not enough? It never was going to be. Her eyes searched mine like she was looking for a crack. There wasn't one. Outside, a car horn echoed. Reality pulling her back. She nodded slowly, like she finally understood something she had been avoiding. I guess I waited too long, she said. Yes. Her voice broke. Will you ever forgive me? I answered honestly. Forgiveness isn't the same as return. That silence lasted longer. Then she stepped back. I hope you're happy, she said quietly. I am learning how, I replied. She gave a small, sad smile. That's better than me. She turned toward the door. Halfway there she stopped. I did love you, she said one last time. I know, I said. Just not enough in the right way. She nodded once and walked out. The door closed behind her without sound. I stayed standing for a moment longer. No anger. No satisfaction. No revenge. Just space. Lena appeared at the hallway entrance. She okay? She asked gently. She's not supposed to be, I said. Lena studied my face. And you? I'm done carrying it. She nodded. Good answer. I looked out at the street where Vanessa had disappeared. Strange, I said. What is? I thought this moment would feel bigger. And? It just feels finished. Lena smiled softly. That's what closure is. I sat back down. For the first time, nothing inside me reached for her anymore. Only forward remained. Don't smile like that at press events, Raymond said, adjusting my collar. I'm not smiling. You are. It's called breathing without pain. He laughed. Your father would have loved this moment. I glanced around the new training center. Young apprentices filled every bay, hands covered in grease, eyes focused, learning like their future depended on it. Yeah, I said quietly. I hope so. A reporter called out, Mr. Cole, is this your first charity program? I stepped forward. No. It's my first honest one. Laughter and camera clicks followed. Another reporter asked, why mechanics? Why not expand luxury services? I answered without hesitation. Because I know what it feels like to be written off. I don't want others to stay there. Raymond leaned close. Good answer. Less corporate, more human. I whispered, I'm trying. After the event, I walked through the workshop. A teenager struggled with an engine block. You're holding it wrong, I said. He looked up. Sorry, sir. Don't call me sir. Try again. He adjusted his grip. Like this? Better? He smiled. Thanks, Ethan. I nodded. That's better too. Later that evening, Raymond joined me in the office overlooking the training floor. You didn't used to talk like that, he said. Like what? Like someone who believes it. I looked down at the movement below. I didn't used to feel it, I admitted. He crossed his arms. Your father would be proud. I hesitated. You already said that. Because it's still true. A knock interrupted us. Lena entered with 2 folders. You missed 3 signatures, she said. I was saving lives downstairs. Over-dramatizing paperwork now? Learning from you. She rolled her eyes but smiled. Raymond stood. I'll leave you 2 to your chaos. After he left, Lena placed the folders on my desk. You look different today, she said. Better or worse? More real. I leaned back. That's dangerous in business. Good thing I don't treat you like business. That line stayed in the air longer than expected. I changed the subject. You stayed late again. Someone has to stop you from signing away half your empire by accident. I trust you. Bad habit, she said lightly. I smiled. So I've been told. Silence settled, not uncomfortable this time. I asked, do you ever think about how strange this all is? What part? Me ending up here. You mean running a company you tried to hide from yourself? Yeah. She sat on the edge of the desk. Not strange. Just delayed honesty. I nodded slowly. You know, I said, I used to think love was heavy. Like something you had to carry. Lena tilted her head. And now? Now it feels lighter. Because you're alone? Because I'm not performing anymore. She studied me for a moment. You're not alone. The words landed gently, not demanding anything. That evening, I invited her to the garage. I want to show you something, I said. She followed without questions. Inside, the restored classic car sat under soft lights. My first restoration. My first real victory over time. I tossed her the keys. She caught them. Why am I holding these? Because you earned trust. She looked at the car, then at me. This is the one you rebuilt yourself? Yeah. It's beautiful. Cars are me. She smiled. Answer both yourself. I opened the driver's door. Sit. She got in carefully. I started the engine. It purred like memory and metal finding peace. Lena whispered, it feels alive. It does when everything's aligned. She glanced at me. You're talking about more than engines. I didn't deny it. We drove slowly around the private track behind the warehouse. No noise from the city. No past chasing me. No Vanessa in my head. Just movement forward. When we stopped, she stayed seated. You're different, she said. I hope so. You used to look like you were waiting for approval. And now, you look like you already gave it to yourself. That stayed with me longer than I expected. I turned off the engine. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I said it. I used to think love had to hurt to be real. Lena looked at me softly. And now I think it just has to be honest. She nodded. That's better, she said. I stepped out and leaned against the car. For the first time, I wasn't chasing, proving, or fixing anything inside myself. I just stood there. And it was enough. I saw Vanessa one last time by chance at a traffic light. She was riding the bus, staring out the window. Our eyes met for 1 second. Then the light changed. I drove forward in the car I once hid because I was ashamed of being seen as rich. Funny how life works. She thought I was broke. But the truth was, she was the one living in emotional poverty all along. I wasn't rich because of money. I was rich because I learned my worth. I drove toward home, where people waited for me who loved the man, not the garage. I stopped the car outside the gate and exhaled slowly. Raymond was waiting near the entrance. "You look different, kid." I smiled slightly and answered him. "I feel different." "Raymond, good. Took you long enough." I stepped inside the house that no longer felt like a secret. Lena appeared. "You made it back alive." I laughed lightly. "Traffic was emotional today." "Lena, that bad?" I nodded. She didn't look at me for who I am, only what I own. "Raymond, people show you who they are eventually." I said, "Yeah, eventually they do." "Lena, so what now?" I looked at the house, at the lights, at everything I built back from nothing. I said, "Now I stop chasing what was never mine." "Lena, and start what?" I answered, "Building what stays." "Raymond, that's your father talking through you." I shook my head. "No, she's right." I smiled. For the first time, Vanessa wasn't in my head anymore. Only peace was. I sat down at the table and poured water. "Raymond, you're quieter now." I said, "I don't need noise anymore." "Lena, that's growth." I looked at her. "You were right about everything." "Lena, no. I was just honest." I laughed. "That's worse." "Lena, better than being cruel." I nodded slowly. Outside, the city kept moving like nothing changed. But everything inside me had. "Raymond, you planning on sleeping tonight?" I said, "Eventually." "Lena, that's a terrible answer." He smiled to hear. "It's an honest one." "Lena, then I'll accept it." I stood up and walked to the balcony. The night air felt clean. I said quietly, "I used to think I lost something when she left." "Lena, and now?" I answered, "I just found myself instead." "Raymond, damn kid." I laughed softly. The road ahead didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt open. "Lena, you're smiling again." I said, "I think I forgot how before." "Lena, good thing I remembered for both of us." I looked at her and felt something steady. I said, "You stayed when it wasn't easy." "Lena, don't make it dramatic." I shook my head. "It's just true." "Raymond, all right, I'm leaving before this gets emotional." He walked away laughing. Lena and I stayed on the balcony. "So what now really?" I said, "I build, I teach, I live." "That sounds boring." "It finally doesn't." "That's the best answer you've ever given me." I looked out at the city lights. I used to think they were out of reach. Now they just look like places I can walk into. "Careful, that sounds like confidence." I answered, "It is." We stood there quietly for a while. Then she said I should go. I said, "I'll walk you out." We went down together. Outside, her car waited. "Tomorrow's meeting." I nodded. She smiled once before getting in. I watched her car disappear down the road. Then I walked back inside. "Still here?" "Yeah, that means you're not done yet." I nodded. I drove home later that night alone. The roads were empty and calm. I didn't think about Vanessa anymore. Not once. I just drove. I said out loud I thought I lost everything. But I didn't. I said I gained myself. And for the first time that was enough. I slowed the car at a red light and stared at my reflection in the mirror. I said quietly, "You made it." No answer came, but I didn't need one. I checked my phone and saw a message from Lena. "Don't disappear into your thoughts again." I typed back, "I'm still here. Good, see you tomorrow." I smiled at the screen. The light turned green and I drove again. The city felt different now, like it finally respected silence. I said I used to chase noise. Now I let it pass me by. I parked outside my home and stayed in the car for a moment. I said softly, "This is mine." Not because I took it from anyone, but because I finally stopped running. I stepped out of the car and walked toward the door. Inside, the lights were warm. "Long drive." I nodded. "You look peaceful." I said, "I am." "You missed dinner." I said I didn't miss anything important. "That's a lie." I smiled. "Not tonight." "Good answer." I looked at both of them and felt steady for the first time in years. "So this is it?" I said, "Yeah, this is it." "No regrets?" I answered, "None worth keeping." "Your father would have liked that line." I looked up and said, "I hope so." Lena said softly, "He already does." I closed my eyes for a moment and breathed in. For a long time I thought happiness was something I had to earn. And now? I said, "Now I just live it." Silence followed, but it wasn't heavy anymore. It was complete. I said, I think I finally understand something. What's that? I answered, I was never broken, I was just waiting. Damn. I laughed softly. And for the first time I didn't look back. I looked at them and said thank you. For what? I said for staying. We didn't go anywhere. I smiled. That's the point. And I finally felt like I belonged to my own life. I said quietly, everything I chased outside was never mine to keep, but everything I built inside myself will stay with me, and for the first time I am not afraid of where tomorrow takes me anymore at all now.